to be successful at PayPal, a leader has to say, I understand that these are the set of things that have got us into success. I understand that these are the set of things that have worked thus far. But we need this new thing, which could involve a lot of technical change and a lot of organizational change in order to get there. And you will not be successful without a founder who's capable of doing that. I'm
surprised you haven't met him yet. I know that John has been talking to you and other members of the PayPal mafia, but I've heard the same from others that they didn't get to meet him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a public company, because eBay is a public company, an exec hiring process. So as soon as he could, he called me, and my schedule is also somewhat complicated. So we're having dinner in a couple of weeks. So I'm sure my schedule is one of those complicated things. But he was talking to me about what the characteristics should be, what kind of person he should be looking for, these sorts of things. And he said, I think I found him in Dan. I'm like, well, I've never met him, so
you don't know yet how much confidence you have in him. Okay, something else that some people have said is that PayPal would be better off as a private company first. It doesn't need the scrutiny of being a public company right away. How concerned are you about that?
So I would 100% agree that if you said you're going to operate PayPal for the next 5 years and make the necessary alterations, that doing it as a private company is better than as a public company. However, the challenge is it's very difficult to get to the right level of capitalization and the right framework to make that happen. So it's unclear that the capital setup for it would work. But if you could operate as a private company, you're not doing quarterly earnings reports. You're trying to figure out how do you do a massive investment over the first couple of years to have a much stronger company in 5 years. Because part of the problem with being public is people say, sure, we want a long-term vision, but we also want your quarterly report to look good. And that creates a lot of tension in terms of risk-taking, in terms of laying in long-term investments. And that's part of the thing that obviously it would be better for PayPal to start out private, but that may not be feasible.
How concerned are you that PayPal is going to be more vulnerable to becoming an acquisition target right away, like a Google or Apple, Amazon, even Alibaba?
So I think that it'll certainly be considered as an acquisition target. Whether or not anything will happen will depend a little bit on what the strategies are of the potentially acquiring companies and what the price point of a very valuable asset is, and kind of how does that play. And so I think there's a lot of good strategies for an independent PayPal that can then play a network effect across all these companies and create a lot of value in the ecosystem. So I think that's a good universe if it plays out that way. But I think it's also kind of the question of, well, if you said, well, you integrated it with a Google, or, there's maybe some complexities around Alibaba, but if you integrated it with another company, maybe something interesting could happen as well. Now, if you want my speculation, and I have zero inside information, right?
Of course I want your speculation.
I would actually think Alibaba would be more likely to go after the marketplace first than the payments company.
What do you mean? So eBay?
eBay first. And I get zero information. But if I look at kind of like how they're trying to play in terms of the global market, that might be the first step.
I wonder if Twitter is a company where, we all know about the pressure that Dick Costolo is under. There's been a lot of talk of the management reshuffling there. Is that a place where a founder would be in a better position to lead?
Well, so I think Dick has a founder's mindset. I think part of the reason he's doing the reshuffling is because he's willing to take the criticism from external in order to find the right answer. And part of what you have to be willing to do is say, okay, I need to change this in order to get the right thing. And I know that I'm going to get a lot of criticism doing it, but I'm going to ignore it as I play. And I think Dick's doing that because he's aware of the criticism. He's aware he was going to get it in advance. So, Dick has himself been a founder of companies, right? He is capable of making that kind of decision of, here's the new thing, we're going to bet entirely on this new effort, these sorts of things. And so, I think I would say I'm bullish on Dick's ability to at least bring the founder's mindset, and I think he is thinking intelligently about the strategy, whether or not it'll play out or not. He may know better than I.
Right. Why do you say at least? Because, I wonder, you're in a perfect position to know, how difficult it is to grow users of a social network, right? And Twitter's user growth is slowing down. Does Twitter need to be taking riskier bets? Do they need to evolve the product faster?
I think it's unquestionable that they need to evolve the product. And so yes, they need to evolve the product. And if you see a lot of the changes that Dick is making, it's how do I configure my product strategy? How do I actually take those bets the right way with the organization? Because those are a lot of the shifts he's been making over the last 6 months. And he as CEO is saying, okay, this is the horse I'm betting on in order to make that happen.
So how do you feel about having not made that investment now?
Well, actually, it was Twitter has always been one of the ones that I listed as when you say which ones do you wish you had made and you didn't, and I'm still in the I wish I had made and I didn't.
Is Twitter a company that you think can reaccelerate user growth, or is it reaching a plateau?
I think it unquestionably can reaccelerate user growth, and I think it's primarily a set of questions around product modifications. And I'm not privy of any of their internal, like I don't know what their secret strategies. Could be great, could be indifferent, I don't know. And I'm not saying that skeptically, I'm just saying I don't know. But I think that the raw basis of the asset can be built on in interesting ways.